this international master here, Nikola Nikolovski. Anyway, yeah, he's from Macedonia, so not from Serbia. And born in 1998, he's an international master. This is the live rating for the players at the game, so 2,400 for this Nikola, and Lu Miaoyi rated at 2,182 at the time. Although Lu Miaoyi is now rated at almost 2,400, 2,399. FIDE doesn't even have a picture of it. This is the only picture I have. Besides, I do have a picture of her and her mother. So her and her mom. Her mom is a grandmaster as well. Her grandfather also was a national champion, or not national champion, excuse me, champion of Beijing as a junior. But let's go ahead and get right into the game. The international master goes ahead and plays pawn to e4 to start, and Lu Miaoyi responds with c5. So we have the Sicilian defense. This is a variation that I certainly enjoy. I love playing the Sicilian. And now the international master plays knight to c3, and Lu Miaoyi plays with knight to c6. So going for the classical closed variation of the Sicilian defense. And now we have bishop to b4 by the international master. Almost kind of like a Rxe5, but not quite the same line yet, but attacking the knight like you would in the Rxe5. And now Lu Miaoyi actually plays knight to d4, attacking this bishop. So kind of, this is definitely a book move, been played thousands of times. But, you know, it's kind of against chess principles. You know, we're moving the knight for the second time in the opening. That's usually not good. But I think she's counting on maybe him moving the bishop back. This is actually the best move in this position, is move the bishop back to c4, but he doesn't do that. This international master instead plays knight to f3, attacking the knight and, you know, developing another piece and saying, hey, if you want to take the knight and move your knight for a third time. So if Lu Miaoyi captures this knight, she's moved the knight 3 times. She's kind of like ignoring chess principles at that point. So she does not do that. She plays pawn to e6 now, and again, this has been played many thousands of times. That was a book move, and the international master from Macedonia castles. So castles for white, and now pawn to a6, going to kick the bishop, kind of well, almost like a Najdorf variation, but of course the bishop wouldn't be there in the Najdorf. But yeah, pawn to a6, telling that bishop get lost. And so the international master pulls his bishop back to d6, which is actually the best move in the position, although it feels a bit awkward to me, because now how do you get this d pawn into the game? You really want to get you want to be able to expand in the center to be able to grab more space, so that could be a problem in the future. And now Lu Miaoyi does move her knight once again, so this knight is moved, what, 3 times now? She moves her knight to c6, and so she has very little development here. You know, she's only got the knight developed. He's got 3 pieces developed, although he does have that interesting issue with his d pawn. But yeah, he's definitely leading in development here. He goes ahead and plays pawn to b3 here, probably getting ready to move his bishop to b2. And now Lu Miaoyi plays pawn to d6. Pawn to d6. Definitely a solid move. And now we do see the bishop coming to b2. So the international master plays bishop to b2. Nikola's got his bishop on b2 now, and Lu Miaoyi finally develops another piece. Knight to knight to f6 here. Best move in the position, although bishop to e7 is really just as good. And Nikola moves his rook to e1 now, and Lu Miaoyi develops her bishop to e2. So this is, amazingly, this is all still book stuff. This has been played actually thousands of times. This game has been played thousands of times in Master Play. So going really deep into position. Now pawn to e5 by the international master, and Lu Miaoyi plays d captures e5, and now we have knight captures on e5 by Nikola, and Lu Miaoyi plays knight from c comes and grabs on e5. So knight captures on e5. I didn't really need to say it was coming from c because the other knight couldn't have gone there. But yeah, knight captures on e5. And now rook captures on e5. So this was a bloody sequence. We lost a lot of pieces there. But actually, all this has been played before. At this point, just a handful of times. But yeah, this has been played at master levels before. Lu Miaoyi now castles. Queen to f3 by the international master. And Lu Miaoyi now attacks the rook with queen to d7. Now, the international master plays rook A to e1. Lu Miaoyi plays bishop to d7. The engine saying this is a mistake. Instead, she should have played pawn to h6. And we'll go ahead and take a little bit closer look at that variation. So let's step back. It would have been better to play pawn to h6. And then they would probably play knight to e4. That's the best move they can play anyways. Black should reposition the knight to e8. This variation should have been better than the one that Lu Miaoyi faced in the actual game. But we'll go back to the actual game now. Lu Miaoyi played bishop to d7. And now the international master did blunder by playing rook to e3. So rook to e3 was a blunder. There was a better way to play here, and we'll take a look at that. Okay, so Nikola should actually have played knight to e4 in this position. So he blundered. He actually played rook to e3, but knight to e4 was best, and then Black's best move. So Lu Miaoyi would have had to capture the knight on e4. Bishop captures on e4. Now, best move for Black would be pawn to g6. Bishop would then capture on b7, as there's two attackers there. Rook to b8. And now the bishop could actually come back to d5 as the pawn is pinned to the other bishop, and Black would happily take that bishop and take over the 7th rank, so you can't capture that bishop. And now we have rook to e8 by Black, and then the bishop could come back to a much better square on c4. And yeah, this position would have been much better for the international master, up being, up a point and just have way more control of the board. Like, for example, Lu Miaoyi's rook on f8. What is he doing exactly? It's going to be a while before he gets in the game. All of Lu Miaoyi's pieces are tied up, and yeah, the international master, his pieces are beautiful. But that's not what happened on the board. We'll go back to what was played, the rook e3 move. Nikola actually played rook e3 here, and then Lu Miaoyi plays pawn to h6. And now the international master moves his queen to g3, which also was not the best move. They're still saying knight to e4 would have been better. That's the way to take advantage of the position, and it's basically the same line that we just saw with a little bit of nuance to it, but same idea, that bishops just end up being well placed. Lu Miaoyi ends up being cramped up with a rook on e8. So we won't go into that just yet. And now Lu Miaoyi blunders by playing bishop to d6 here. Looks like a great move, lining up the rook and the queen. But instead, she should have played rook f d8 here. And yeah, things would have been a little more equal. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that variation here. So instead, Lu Miaoyi should have played rook to d8 here. This is not what happened. She played rook to d6, but let's look at what would have been better for her. So rook to d8, and then they would, again, the best move, knight to e4. Should have been played on the board. For some reason, it was not. And now Lu Miaoyi could play bishop to c6, attacking that knight. They would go ahead and capture on f6. So knight captures on f6. Bishop captures on f6, and now best move for white would be to move their bishop to c3, and then Black could play pawn to c4, kind of messing up the pawn structure a little bit, as white would need to play pawn captures on c4 as well. And now black could reposition the queen to e7. We would have rook h5, threatening to capture the pawn since the defender is pinned. And yeah, this is a superior position for white, although, I mean, it's basically a good chance to draw this position. Things aren't fantastic, but this was better. This would be better than what actually happened on the board with her playing bishop to d6. So let's go ahead and take a look at what actually happened on the board, though. So yeah, Lu Miaoyi plays bishop to d6, and now the international master finally finds the best move in position. Stockfish says this is a great move. Yeah, should have been played a while back, but yeah, it's not easy to see that when you're facing somebody over the board. And now Lu Miaoyi plays the best move in the position. She plays knight captures on e4. Now, see if you can find, so the international master, Nikola, he finds the very strongest move in this position. A bit of a surprising move, but certainly the strongest. Go ahead and pause your video if you want to think about it for a few moments. But I'm going to go ahead and reveal it if you haven't already paused. He actually plays queen captures on g7, the queen sacrifice. A brilliant move, certainly the best in the position. Yeah, so yeah, Lu Miaoyi, of course, is forced to capture the queen. And now we have rook to g5 double check. So most powerful move in chess. That's not a checkmate. Anytime the king is in double check, so the bishop checks over there from b2, the rook is checking from g5. Anytime there's a double check, the king must move. You can't capture anything because there's two pieces that are attacking the king. There's no way to capture them both. So Lu Miaoyi forced to move her king to h7. Only move that was possible in the position. And now bishop captures knight on e4 check. Best move in the position once again. Lu Miaoyi plays pawn to f5, blocking that bishop. And now we have rook to g7 check, setting up all kinds of nastiness here since the king is forced to move to h8, and now that rook can move anywhere it likes, unleashing the bishop for check. So a discovered check here coming up. And so Lu Miaoyi does step to h8, and now we have the best move in the position. Well, why don't you think about what you think the best move in the position? Think what could you do with this rook here, considering that the bishop is going to be checking the king when you move it? I think you can probably find the best move. But pause your video. If you haven't already, I'm going to go ahead and reveal the move. Of course, rook captures on d7 check, taking a free bishop, attacking the queen at the same time. Lu Miaoyi must get out of check. She plays king to g8. And now, of course, we have rook captures c7. And Lu Miaoyi plays bishop captures on c7. Bishop captures on b7 by Nikola, attacking the rook. Lu Miaoyi returns the attack, rook to a7, attacking the bishop. Nikola moves his bishop to c6 here. Lu Miaoyi moves her king to f7, now activating the king, and that's the best move in this position. So, you know, we're hiding our king in the opening, and in the middle game, when there's queens and rooks and bishops slashing across the board, you want to keep your king out of the game. Now, the kings are one of the strongest pieces on the board, so maybe you do want to get them closer to the center of the board. Nikola plays pawn to g3 now, and now Lu Miaoyi plays rook to d8, going after that pawn on d2. Nikola just pushes his pawn to d3 now, and Lu Miaoyi moves her bishop to b6 here. Bishop to b6, defending that pawn in case it be under attack. And actually, Nikola goes ahead and attacks that pawn on the next move, but of course he's not going to capture since it is defended. He plays rook to e5, and now we have king to e7 by Lu Miaoyi. Now rook to e2 by the international master. And by the way, Lu Miaoyi is not titled as of yet. She's rated at 2,400, but evidently she hasn't played in titled matches, so that she's technically not even a FIDE master, which is surprising. But yeah, Nikola is a international master, which is even higher than a FIDE master. Now, Lu Miaoyi plays rook to c7, attacking the loose bishop there. And of course, the international master moves the bishop. He takes it back to f3. And Lu Miaoyi moves her rook over to g8. So rook g8, one of the best moves she could have made in the position. Maybe getting the bishop more involved might be good too. Nikola plays bishop to e5, attacking Lu Miaoyi's rook. She's got to reposition. She decides to move to the half-open file. Rooks like half-open files. Only one pawn, that's a half-open file. So she plays rook to d7. And now Nikola plays bishop back to f4, where it's defended by the pawn. Lu Miaoyi plays rook to h8 here. One of the best moves she could have played in the position. And now Nikola plays bishop to c6. Maybe getting his king closer to the center of the board might have been a better move, but bishop to c6 is good. And now Lu Miaoyi drops that rook back to the 8th rank. We have rook d8. The rook's connected, which, that can be definitely a benefit. And bishop now to b7, attacking the a pawn. That is the best move in the position for white. So the a pawn is under attack. Lu Miaoyi pushes the a pawn to a5. And now bishop to a3 by the international master. Again, probably just, getting his king closer to being in the game might have been better, but this was an okay move. And Lu Miaoyi plays king to f7. Probably bringing her rook over here might have been better, but there's not a lot of choices in this position, so I think that was okay, as it turns out. Now the international master does start bringing his king over. He plays king to f1, and Lu Miaoyi pushes her pawn to h5, and now the international master plays pawn to h4, not allowing that pawn to penetrate the position any further. And Lu Miaoyi lifts her rook back up to d7. Yeah, the engine suggesting maybe playing rook to e8, thinking maybe of getting the king up and perhaps pushing, but she plays rook to d7, and now we have bishop back to c4, pinning that pawn, so it's not going anywhere anytime soon. That is the best move in the position. Lu Miaoyi now moves her rook to e7, so kind of probably the same idea here, but not allowing the bishop to be attacking the rook, so she can move her king up and then perhaps push the pawn later. And now we have bishop to g5, not allowing this, chasing the rook away, so Lu Miaoyi has to push her rook back. And now the international master just goes ahead and attacks the rook again, so just harassing that rook, not allowing it that square. He plays bishop to b5, and Lu Miaoyi is forced to move her rook. She does find the best move in the circumstances for her rook, which is on g8 here, but it leaves this rook kind of without a whole lot of a job, so not a fantastic position. If you look at the material, both players are actually even in material, but the engine is favoring white significantly. Lu Miaoyi's position is difficult. She doesn't have a lot of moves. She's kind of tied up here. The international master now once again moves his bishop back to c4. Now, no chances of a threefold repetition or anything because the rook hasn't been over here before, but he's moving the same move over and over again. Lu Miaoyi does come back to e8, and you do have to worry about threefold repetition if you're trying to win this game, but this bishop hasn't been here long. You do have to keep track of that sort of stuff, though. And now we have rook to e5 by the international master, so this is a completely new position, and we don't have to worry about any kind of threefold repetition. Lu Miaoyi plays rook to f8 now. International master goes ahead and grabs the free f pawn. f5 pawn is hanging since the bishop pins the defender, so he can just take that for free. Lu Miaoyi steps out of the way here to g7, and now Nikola moves his rook back to e5. Lu Miaoyi plays bishop to c7. and Nikola moves his rook back to e3. But why not take? Why did he not take the pawn instead? Let's take a look at that. It looks like this pawn is just free, so why not take the pawn? And it has to do with this pin right here. So the reason we wouldn't take the pawn, because if rook takes pawn, that's a really weak pawn. It's really not going to be able to do much. There's 4 pawns in front of it that are nicely connected, holding hands. That pawn's a sit and duck, can be taken any time. But if you play this move, it's a mistake because bishop now can take this pawn here. So bishop captures here, and you can't capture back because it's pinned to the king, and now that pawn structure is destroyed. And that's the major advantage that this international master has right now, is his pawn structure is just better. Yeah, that's why he didn't play that move. So Nikola plays rook to e3, and now Lu Miaoyi pushes her pawn up to e5. Pawn to e5. Nikola moves his rook back to e4 now, preventing that pawn from being pushed, although not like he was really going to go anywhere without being captured. And Lu Miaoyi finds the best move in this position. She plays rook to f3, maybe looking to hopefully get the other rook on here and cause all kinds of problems. Nikola finds the strongest move in the position. He plays king to g2, the king attacking the rook. Lu Miaoyi, as expected, doubles the rooks on the f file with rook e to f8. And now we have bishop to e3 by Nikola. And Lu Miaoyi now plays bishop to d6, kind of looking after her pawns. That's the best move in the position. And Nikola now moves his bishop to d5, perhaps looking to attack the rook with some sort of a discovered attack. So Lu Miaoyi does pull her rook out of that mess back to f6. The international master goes after the a pawn now. That pawn is kind of a sitting duck, but if he can get rid of it, then he can push his own a pawn. So Lu Miaoyi does come back to defend that pawn, but unfortunately that leaves the c pawn now hanging. This is why your pawn structure, you do want to have your pawn structure intact so they can defend each other, but there was no way to defend against this. So yeah, white plays bishop captures pawn on c5. Of course, Lu Miaoyi has to do something about that as her rook is under attack. She decides to play bishop to d6, blocking the attack on her rook. But after bishop takes bishop, so yeah, the international master plays bishop captures d6. We have rook captures on f2. And the international master plays king to a3, or excuse me, king to h3, best move in the position. Lu Miaoyi then moves her rook to f5, and now the international master once again finds the strongest move in the position. He plays bishop to e4, attacking her rook, and she's forced to move her rook back. She moves her rook back to e7. And then the international master grabs the e5 pawn with check. So bishop captures, e5 check. Lu Miaoyi moves her king to f8, the best spot for her king. And now the international master grabs the a pawn. So this is an extremely difficult position to play. Basically impossible at this point for black, as yeah, we've got 4 connected pass pawns. That's, I mean, he could just promote to a bunch of knights and still win. Wouldn't have to get queens. That would be an interesting game. But Lu Miaoyi plays on. She plays rook captures the c2 pawn. And now we have rook to a8 check, going after Lu Miaoyi's king. And we have king to e7, the best move she could play. And now the international master plays rook to a7. Lu Miaoyi plays king to e6, and now we have rook captures on f7. Just simplification. You know, if you have an advantage like this, then simplifying is often the way to go. And Lu Miaoyi, of course, captures the rook, and now we have 2 bishops and 5 pawns versus a rook and a pawn. Pretty significant advantage. The international master now plays pawn to a4. And it is on this move, move 60, that Lu Miaoyi resigns the game. So she lost this one. playing against a very strong international master on the verge of grandmaster. He's playing the white pieces. He had the advantage from the get-go. It's hard to play as black at this level, but she made some mistakes, and I'm sure she's studying those mistakes, or she has studied those mistakes, and is improving her game. That's why she's now rated at 2400. There's no clear path towards a checkmate here. It just has something to do with, protecting your pawns against that rook, and, just promoting a pawn. You don't need to promote 2 pawns, but you could probably get away with promoting 3 pawns as white. This is an impossible position to play from here. Yeah, thank you for joining me for that one. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.